Right. I'm excited to debrief this one. Hello. The Prague Boulder World Cup finished a couple of days ago, and I leave tomorrow for the last 2 World Cups of the season in Seoul, which I'm very excited for. But I wanted to debrief Prague before I headed off because I think that there's quite a lot that I can take from it. I wasn't really going to talk about qualification because obviously there's other stuff to talk about, but thinking about, I don't know, looking at the wider picture, my qualification round got me into semi-finals, which is only my 3rd ever World Cup boulder semi-final, which obviously isn't a lot. Qualification in Prague also had a lot of firsts for me, so I wanted to talk about those. Obviously it's the first time that I've topped the qualification round, qualifying for semi-finals in joint first place in my group, which was pretty cool. It's also the first time I've topped all 5 boulders in qualifications, which was really satisfying. Coming into this comp, after the last World Cup, I sort of had mentioned to my coaches that if I were to miss a semi-final of any competition, it would probably be this one. Obviously, my finger wasn't helping, but just I think I'm more confident in my lead than my boulder at the moment. So I thought that if I was going to miss a semi-final, it would be in Prague. I don't know why I thought I was more likely to miss one in Prague than in Seoul. I just feel like when I'm in Asia, I get superpowers or something. I'm in my happy place and I just suddenly become a better climber. So to go from being a little bit sceptical, I guess, to then topping the qualification round felt pretty crazy. So there was a rest day between qualies and semis, and then I was just feeling excited for semi-finals. So first block felt fine. There wasn't any point where I thought I was going to fall off, so it was a good start. Flashed that one. Block 1, I'd say was a 5 out of 5. Like I said, I was confident on every move, so there was nothing that I was unsure of or hesitant about. The second block was probably the main takeaway from my round. I think I've said it before, but I'm still trying to figure out my ratio of climbing intuitively versus doing it smartly, the way that the setters intended for people to do it. My first couple attempts, I secured the zone on my first attempt, and my first 2 attempts, I'd say I did do it intuitively and I was close. And then I was sort of looking at the move and thought maybe the setters intended for me to do it a different way. So I tried it that way, and that way didn't really feel right for me. Then I didn't have much time left. On my last attempt, I went back to the previous way, how I felt like doing it, and it was upsettingly close. I thought I had it, and then my foot just skidded off the volume. So I think afterwards I was thinking if I had one more go then I would have done it. So basically if I hadn't have changed my mind halfway through, then I probably would have had the time to do it. But I just need to work out when to change my beta and when to not change my beta. Probably just more experience doing those moves in a time limit to decide whether I should make some changes or whether I should carry on doing what I feel is best for me. And planting my foot. I planted it a bit too hard on my last go, skidded straight off. So for that one, I think I was quite upset after that one because I felt like I was so close. So I would give myself a 4 for that one, out of 5. Third block, The first move was okay. The next bit was also okay. But I was a little bit uncomfortable in the position. If you haven't seen it, you've got to sort of like get a weird heel with your left foot. You sort of got to like shove your heel into this thing with a drop knee, and the heel goes where your left hand is, and the way that I was putting my left hand didn't really give me much space to get my heel in. I should have held it a different way. I did it the way I think it was intended the first time, and like secured the zone in quotation marks, and I checked to see if I'd got the zone, and I did. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to try this a few different ways, because that didn't really feel like overly comfortable for me. So I tried it a few different ways, sort of skipping out that zone hold. And then that was my time up, like couldn't progress on it. Probably give myself a 2.5. I think that there were small changes that needed to happen and it would have felt okay. Like giving myself more room for the heel so that I could like sort of sink into position more and feel it out. So yeah, 2.5 out of 5. The last block was like a 0 out of 5. I just did not ever feel close to establishing at all. It's sort of all in the arms for that sort of move. Like you didn't really use the foot, you just sort of like dangled your feet above it. I tried it a few different ways, which was good, but like never really felt close. I've definitely done those sorts of moves before, like I guess locking the elbows, but never on those types of holds. Like there was nothing in my memory that was like making my body do it intuitively, so I think I just need to get on that type of move to work it out, because I just had no idea how to do it. So that would be I think that's my first ever, no, I think I have given myself a 0 before. This was worse.
Yeah,
this was so much worse.
You made 0 moves at this one.
Every time I like went up, like a couple times it was like, oh, I'm nearly in, and then one of my hands would just like inevitably slip. Like it never felt like, oh, I was so close to establishing, and even if I did establish, I'm not sure that I would have been able to progress at all from that. So I think I just need that saying for me, like ASAP, if anybody wants to do that. Thank you very much. So, after the fourth boulder, quick check on the scoreboard, and I was 4th. The end. I was 4th into finals, and that was it. No. Well, I was 4th. And then I went back behind the wall, started getting all my stuff together, went out into like the public area. Everything was fine. And then I was told that there was an appeal on my boulder 3 zone. Yeah, I saw that there was an appeal on boulder 3 on my zone. And then I was told that the appeal was upheld, and I was bumped from 4th place to 10th. Quite a drop down. 6 places, that's quite a drop.
Oh, Mr. Williams! Elmo. What are you going to do with that stick?
I was upset at first. Like, I think the problem is my semis round wasn't amazing. There were things that I could have done better on 3 out of the 4 problems. Like I was painfully close on one of them, and the other one, I think a small change would have made a massive difference. But then to have had a not amazing round and still be in the finals felt quite good, because like it meant that I didn't need a perfect performance to make finals. So to have been in and then to have been out is what hurt. Like if I'd have had not a great performance and not been in, then that would have been okay. But yeah, just the sudden change of being in to being out sort of sucked a lot. But watching finals was really fun. I mean, the appeal was upheld, so I've seen a lot of people like having different opinions about it. I'm not gonna say anything about it. The only thing I will say is that I checked to see if I had the zone, and obviously I did, and I sort of wished that I was more tactical in a way, and maybe if I was more sceptical about whether I got the zone, that I would have gone back up and secured it again, because after I'd seen that I got the zone, I sort of started doing it different ways that didn't really involve the zone hold, so I never actually secured it again. Maybe if I was more sceptical, I could have been more tactical and then made sure that I secured it again instead of focusing on like finding a way that was maybe better for me. But then again, the second boulder felt ridiculously close, so if I'd have just topped that, then the zone hold wouldn't have even mattered. So instead, I'm going to focus on the things that I can control instead of trying to be tactical. I think being tactical does work in some scenarios, but for me it's just sort of adds a stress that I don't want in my competition climbing. So I'm going to focus on what I did wrong in boulder 2 and like hand positioning on boulder 3, what I could have done differently instead of focusing on the appeal. I guess in a way it sort of takes a bit of the pressure off for Seoul. Making finals at this competition would have been my 7th final in a row, would it? World Cup, OQS, Olympics, World Cup, yeah. Would have been my 7th final in a row. So it's a bit annoying, but also now there's not like a streak going that I have to keep up for Seoul. So I'm just excited to go and enjoy it. And also just the way that I handled the disappointment. It's been sort of easy for me this year to say that my mindset's better because I haven't really ever had a really disappointing result. And obviously compared to last year, this result isn't disappointing, but I was still disappointed in it. So the way that I've handled the first disappointment of the year has shown me that my mindset has come a long way. I was in a similar position like 2 years ago at the Youth World Champs in Dallas. I was bumped out of finals. I'd like made finals, and then there was an appeal on me and I was bumped out, and it felt like the end of the world at the time, and that was at Youth World, so obviously it's like sort of less riding on it. It's a lower stake competition, I suppose, but it felt like all the work wasn't worth it, and that I just wasted my time, and that I wasn't as that I wasn't very good at climbing. This was a bigger competition and felt so much better after the decision was made, after the appeal was upheld. I felt nowhere near as bad as I felt at any point during that Youth Worlds back in 2022. I think the difference is that I'm just more confident now and I have more belief. And even though it's still scary to say it, I do think that I can make more finals, and I think that there'll be more finals in my future. This isn't a one-off. I may not have made finals this time, but there's always next time, and I'm confident that I can do it again. So it really isn't the end of the world, and it's always going to happen. Like, appeals are always going to be made against you, and you're always going to sometimes be on the wrong end of them. So I'm happy that I've got that experience now. I'm ticking off all the experiences. Ticked off the long, anxious wait at the Olympics. Ticked off appeal, bumping me out of the next round. I'm ready for anything now.
Appeal off the podium.
I haven't quite done that yet. Let me do podium first, and then I can do appeal off podium. Please, please. Watching finals was so fun. I think if I was asked what finals I would want to watch instead of competing in, it would be this, because it was so like ridiculously fun to watch. The setting was some of the most like perfectly set, probably one of the most perfectly set rounds I've ever seen. Yeah, it made spectating, the way that it was set and the separation of the field just made it so fun to spectate. Watching Natalia top that last one was like probably one of the most insane things I've ever seen in competition climbing. That was ridiculous. Like I said, like all of the finalists put on such a good show, and it was just insane watching. So yeah, like I said, I head off to Seoul tomorrow, and I'll be competing in both the boulder and lead World Cups, and then that is my season over. Yeah, I'm very excited for these competitions. My favourite place to compete? Well, just Asia. After Seoul, I want to sort of have a break, and I think that the only way for me to not climb and get straight into winter training would be to go on holiday. So I'm going to try and go somewhere far, far away so that I don't end up getting immediately into winter training. But after that, I would really like to do like a season overview, season debrief. It's been like like the most insane year of my life. So I'm going to try and go on holiday for like 10 days or something and try and focus on something other than training. Maybe my Pokemon endeavours. I'd quite like to also get some more training videos out. I think there's lots of aspects of my training that I haven't really captured yet. So I think that if it can help people with their training, or like if it's of any interest to people, then I'd quite like to do that. And some like fun challenges in climbing, like just going to a wall and really just enjoying climbing, getting stuck into something stupid. I think that would be fun for a little bit. Do some like unserious training instead of like really focused training. But if there's anything at all that you're interested in or want to see, then please let me know, because you're the ones that are watching, and if it's anything to do with climbing, I'm sure I'll enjoy it, so please let me know. Also, thank you for all of your really kind messages about the comp. A lot of them made me laugh about the appeal, so thank you. It's really easy to keep having a positive mindset about the situation when people are being so supportive, so I really appreciate it. And yeah, hopefully see you very soon. Have a good day, and
Goodbye.
and goodbye. Bye.